Hi friend, welcome back to another session of Learning IIB with me, Saif, from the channel IIB Guru. So in today's class, we are going to learn about message sets and message definition. How do we create message set and message definition, and how are you going to implement it as part of a message flow? This would be the agenda of this class. So the message definition or message set that I am going to create today to teach you what a message set or message definition is for a delimited message. A delimited message can be a message delimited by any kind of delimiter. It might be a delimiter, might be a comma or a colon or hyphen or anything. Anything can be considered as a delimiter. So let me show you an example. But before going for an example, I just want you to know like what this message set or message definition concept is related as far as IIB is concerned. See, message definition, let's go with message definition first. So message definition is nothing but defining a message, defining a request, or defining a response. Even a request or response is a message by itself. So how do you define that message? Defining in the sense, the broker, when it is trying to process a request or it's trying to send a response to the client, it has to know what are the individual fields or field values that are contained as part of a message. So for that purpose, for broker to understand the message, a definition has to be given for the broker to understand the message as a whole. Like for example, a message, let me take a message, let me share the screen and make it very simple for you. Okay, so let me quickly open a notepad, okay. Okay. Yeah. So here, okay, let me take a message. Let's say 123 colon Raju colon, let's say Detroit. So this is a simple message. We are going to work on this message. So what does this message say? Like if you are just given this raw message, how do you interpret this message? What is 123? What is Raju? What is Detroit? And what are these colons between the individual field values? Let's consider these as fields. This is field 1, this is field 2, this is field 3. We don't know what these fields are talking about. Let's just consider these are different fields, field 1, field 2, field 3. Okay, so field 1 like is an integer value field 2 is a string value field 3 is a string value field, that we know. But what are these fields talking about? They are not self-explanatory. So we have to define the individual fields so that broker can easily understand like what these fields are talking about. So in order to define the individual fields, for example, what is the data type of the field, like what is the name of the field, and like how many, like is that field are all the fields as part of like a record are delimited or they are fixed length. We have to mention everything as part of a message definition. Message definition is nothing but defining a message. I'll give you a simple example. Let's take a simple example, English language. Anybody who knows a simple English can understand. I am a boy. Let's say this is a statement, I am a boy. So if somebody who does not know English and who is learning English, who is in a learning state, how does he understand this? What he's going to do is that he's going to make use of a dictionary or a thesaurus, okay, and he will search word by word. if you dissociate this, it is I am a boy, right? So 4 words, I am a boy. So it's going to take each word at a time and see the meaning inside the dictionary. And then after understanding word by word, then he's going to join all the words and understand the meaning of the sentence. Okay, this is how we try to work on a language. If at all we are very new, we try to find a dictionary for that language, and then we try to segregate it into words. A sentence, when it is said to us, we try to segregate it into words and then understand word by word, and then join the sentence and understand the meaning of the sentence, right? So this activity, in simpler term, in terms of like in terms of integration, or in terms of any kind of tool understanding a message, is interpreted as parsing. So this is called as parsing. Parsing is nothing but, parsing in simple English terms is like segregating a sentence into words, so, and understanding word by word the meaning, and then understanding the whole meaning of the sentence. This is what parsing is in simpler words. Parsing is not a very complex term. It's very easy term to understand. Parsing is segregating a sentence or segregating a piece of message into words, into different words, and then trying to get the meaning of that. Okay, this is in English parsing, English language parsing, or any other language like Hindi or Arabic or any other language. Parsing is simply understanding the sentence word by word. That's what parsing is. If you go with the same parsing in understanding a message, a business message, then a little bit different. We can express it in different way. For example, let's consider this as a business message. So this is a business message, and this is a text delimited message. Why I'm saying delimited message? Because if you see, there are fields which are delimited by colon. So you can see the colon as a delimiter. And what are these fields talking about? So we have to individually see, like 1, 2, 3. It is, let's suppose it's a employee number. Raju is an employee name. Detroit is an employee city. So you have to make broker to understand these things. Like for the first field is an integer field, and the name of the field is E number. And the second field is a string field, and the name of the field is E name. The third field is the city field, and the third field is a string field, and the name of the field is E city. You have to make the broker understand this. And all the fields are, if you see, all the fields are delimited, and they are delimited by a delimiter called colon. The delimiter can be anything. The delimiter can be colon, the delimiter can be comma, the delimiter can be semicolon, anything. Delimiter can be star, anything. You can make use of any delimiter, or you can make use of double delimiters. You can make use of double colons over there. You can make use of double commas, anything works fine. So that's what is a message definition in a simple terms. And what is a message set? Message set is nothing but a container of the message definition. For example, in a message set, you can have one or more than one message definition. For example, if you want to create, for a message flow, like you need to create like 2 message definitions, then you need not have to create 2 message sets for 2 message definitions. Only a single message definition can accommodate more than a single message set can accommodate more than one message definition. And a message set will have a unique ID that is called as message set ID. It would be a hexadecimal number, and it's a unique ID specific to a message set. So we will see all these things while we are trying to execute, or where we are trying to do it practically. We will see all these things, but for now, for this example, we are going to create a message definition for this message. I'm telling again, this is a delimited text message that we are working on. And why do we need to create a message definition? As I said before, message definition is specifically used for the broker to make understand what individual fields of the message are talking about. What are the data types of the fields? What is the delimiter used? What is the name of the field? All these things are specified as a definition, and they are given to the broker while it's processing the message, so that whenever you want to do a transformation on the message relating to some field transformation or field value transformation, you have to get an access to that particular field. So how do you get an access to the particular field? First of all, you have to define the message. And how do you define the message? By making use of message definition. So let's take this message as example. Let me say, let me name it as employee txt, or let's employee delimited message dot txt. Okay, so I am using here Notepad++. I can use Notepad also, but I want to show you the use of the main use of making use of Notepad++ here, because there are like you can go to the view and select this option show symbol, so that it will show you like all these options, show end of line, show all characters. So see, when you go for show end of line, what happens is that whenever you press enter, it shows up this CRLF. So I want to make it a point to explain it here. So CRLF is carriage return line feed. Carriage return line feed. The full form is carriage return line feed. This is what CRLF is. So what is the CRLF? So in Windows system we have CRLF, but if you go for Linux, there is nothing called CRLF. There's something called just LF, that is line feed. So what happens when you press enter? Enter in Windows has two steps that it undergoes. When you press enter, there are two steps that are happening. One is line feed. First step is line feed. Even though it's showing CR is first and then LF, but the first thing it's going to do is LF, line feed. It means it's going to add a line. It's going to add a line to this line. So it would be first like this. So let me show it to you what happens when you press CRLF show. So I'm disabling it. So first thing is going to do is going to add a line. So the cursor would come to this point. When you press enter, the cursor would come to this point where it is blinking. So this is LF action, line feed action. And then CR action, carriage return. So it has to return to the starting point. So this is what happens. I will show again. So CRLF has two things which happens: carriage return and line feed. But line feed is something which is going to happen first, and then carriage return is going to happen. So line feed is a line is added. So the cursor comes to the point where the previous line has ended in the next line, and then CR should be executed. CR means taking the cursor to the starting point of the second line. Okay, this is what CRLF is. Okay, so hope you understood what CRLF is, and then I'm going to save it, and then we are going to use this message as input. So before that, before we use it as input, what we'll do, I will show you how to create a message definition. But message definition should be part of a container called as message set. So quickly, I'll show you the steps. First of all, we need to create a message set. How do we do that? There are a number of ways. You can either go to file, go to new, and then choose the option other, and then type here message set. So here you can see under Integration Bus message set development, there is an option called message set. This is one way or you can right click in the application development view. This is application development view. Go to new, choose other, and then it opens the same wizard, message set. Okay, so I choose this option. Next, message set name. I'll give the message set a name. I'll say delimited underscore message set, and just add a P for message set project. Here it's asking for a message set project name, and then copy message set contains from another message set. We don't have any other message set previous to this, so we are creating it from scratch. So just neglect this option. Next, so select the type of message data that you will be working with most often. For now, we don't have multiple files that we are multiple messages for which we are creating message definitions under this message set. So we have only one message for which we are going to create a message definition. We don't have any other message. So what is the format of this message? The format, is it an XML? No, it's not an XML message. So scroll down and you have many options here. Our option is text data. Text data is the option that you need to choose for messages of this delimited kind. And then if you are working with any other messages which would be part of this message set, and if they are with other formats, then choose the particular format. Let's suppose if in future you are going to add a XML specific message definition to this message set, then you can make use of this option, check this option. But for now, since I am not adding any other message definition, but again, I make this point, a message set is a container of a message definition, but it's not mandatory that there should be only one message definition in a message set. A message set can contain more than one message definition, one or more than one. Okay, so next, so just take a note of this properties. The message domain is MRM. Wire format is text1. If you are choosing text as a format of message, the wire format would be text1. Schemas to be added is none, so there is no schema that is added. So please remember, supported message domain is MRM. So in the previous example, in the yesterday's in the class related to ODBC connection, we made use of an XML message as input, where XML NSC was the message domain. Here we are making use of MRM as a message domain for text messages. So finish. So it says that the message, the next step is to create message definition. So up till now, we have created a message set. So this is message set. And as I told you in the beginning, message set consists of a unique ID. This is the ID, which is a hexadecimal number. You can see it's a hexadecimal number. I'm sorry, I take my words back. It's not a hexadecimal number, but it's a unique ID. Yes, it's not a hexadecimal number, but it's a unique ID. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 digit unique ID. It's a 13 digit unique ID with which we can identify this message set. Okay, and default wire format, this message set is going to contain a message definition for a delimited message, text delimited message. So the default wire format would be text1. You can scroll down and add it, text1. Okay, so if there are multiple message definitions, you have to make a wire format which is default. For example, if you have a XML message for which you have created definition, you have created a text message, you have multiple text message. Not all text messages would be same, because delimiter may be different, the number of fields may be different, so you cannot make a standard message definition for a text message, because text message, the delimiters will be changing, the number of fields will be changing, and there might be variable length fields, there might be fixed length fields. So text message, the text message definition cannot be same for all the text messages. So but the wire format would be text one for text messages, but for fixed length messages, the wire format would be binary. So this is message ID, message set ID. It's not message ID, it's message set ID. Remember this thing, keep in mind, because message ID is something else, which would be the property, which is one of the property of MQMD. This is message queue, message definition related to a queue. So related to the message which is kept on the queue. Any message that is kept on MQ queue will have a unique ID which is called as message set ID, and this message ID, which is not equal to this message ID, message set ID. They both are different things. Message set ID is different and message ID is different. Okay, so now we have completed with message set. And then how do we create message definition? So if you see here in the independent resources, we created a message set project under which we have a message set, and we have a section called message definition. You can create message definition by right clicking on message definition, new, and going to other and just typing here message definition. So there are two options, message definition file and message definition file from. If you are willing to create a message definition for XML message, then you will have a XSD or a schema associated to that XML message. Making use of it, you can create a definition, message definition. Or if you are willing to create a message definition for a COBOL message, an associated COBOL copybook, which acts as same as schema for the COBOL message, you can make use of that and create a message definition. But if you are trying to create a message definition for a text message, then you don't have associated schemas kind of things. There's nothing called schemas for the text message. So this option, message definition file from, will only be useful when you have schemas associated with the message format that you are trying to use to create a message definition. But for text messages, you have to create the message definition from scratch without making use of any definition, without making use of any schemas. So there is no schema for text messages. So you make use of just message definition file. Again, I tell you, if you go with message definition file from, then it needs a schema. So message definition file is the option which I need to choose next, and give some name. So let's give the name colon separated MSD. I'm just giving it as MSD. It's not mandatory to give MSD. MSD is message definition. So finish. So this is a empty message definition. So there are 4 parts: elements and attributes, groups, types, and messages. For this message, we are going to use only elements and attributes and types. Okay, we are going to use these 2 categories of message definition: elements and attributes and types. Okay, for easy understanding, I will name elements and attributes as low level to define low level elements, and then types to define high level elements. See, there's no terminology called low level elements or high level elements, but I am making use of that terminology to make it easy. If at all people feel difficult to correlate with the already if they are well versed with like simple types or complex type, then no need to follow my way of teaching these things. But for people who are very new to IIB or creation of message definition or understanding the message, then this kind of terminology usage would be useful for you. Okay. Again, I say there is nothing called low level or high level elements. It's my way of expressing it. So elements and attributes. So what do we define in this elements and attributes? See here, you see this message, there are three fields. There are three fields in this message. You can count it. This is one field, Raju is other field, Detroit is the third field. So three fields are there. So I will define these three fields with individual names. So I click. So there are two options: add global element, add global attributes. See, again I'm showing right click the elements and attributes or the low level elements, and you will have an option add global element or global attribute. So what I'm going to create now is a global element. So I'll give the name of the global element, it's E number. E number, I'm expressing this first field as E number. Okay, since there is no like strict guidance or any standards to give the names. So if you are working for a client, the client will have its own standards to give the names for the fields. But now for this example, I'm just giving a field name as E number, and then add global element, E name, and then add global. Three elements are there. You see clearly there are three elements. So I give the names for these three elements and just check the data type. For first element, I told the data type is an integer, so you have to change it as integer. E-name and ECT are the string data types, and now you have to go for creating the high level elements, or you have to go for the types. So the types, if you observe here, there is a E number and E name and ECT. Then this E number, E name and ECT combine to form a record. So this complete thing is a record. Okay, so what we will do is we will create a upper class, or we will create a high level element called record, which is the combination of these three fields. So that is what we make use of types. Okay, again I am trying to explain it to you. If you're not understand it with my previous statement, again I would like to change some part of it so that you can understand. See, there are three elements here which I expressed with the different names in the message definition that I created: E number, E name, and ECT. So these three fields combine and form a single record. So that record should also be specified with a name, and that name should be expressed in the types. So right click, you have to go with an option add complex type. Okay, so let's give the name as E record. And then how do you like make this definition know that this E record is a combination of these three fields? It's very simple. You just have to right click the E record and choose this option add element reference. And if the elements are present in the low level element section, that is global elements or elements and attributes, then they would show up here. So add the elements in the sequence in which they are existing. It's very important. You have to add the elements in the sequence which they are existing. So E number comes first, and then E name, and then the third one ECT. Okay, so this is how you add the elements, low level elements to the complex type, or the high level element, that is the types. And then you have to add this complex type to again the global type. So here in the elements and attributes, now you can see under the record, e-record, you have all these elements, and it's also showing the minimum occurrence and maximum occurrence. These properties will be used during the validation. If there is a validation check which needs to be set on the message, then these are the properties which should be useful, like minimum occurrence 1, maximum occurrence 1 for e number. For example, if the input message does not contain e number, then there would be a validation error, because the message definition says e number should exist at least once and at most once. I'm again saying at least once and at most once. So if at all it does not exist at least once, then there would be a validation error. The same with ename. You can make this 0 also, but let's make it 1, minimum and maximum. And then there are some important things. Now we have defined the fields and we have defined the record which contains the fields, but we have forgot one thing. If these 3 fields combine to form a record, then there is one more thing which we are neglecting. It's a delimiter. Okay, then we have to express that in this record, which is e record in our case, all the elements are delimited. See, between the elements there is a delimiter. So we have to define the important point there. So how do we define? You just have to go to types, select the e record and go to the properties section. Again, I show you, you have to go to the types, select the complex type on which you want to set the delimiter, and go to the properties section. And in this property section, go to the physical properties, go to the wire format, text1 in this case, and choose the complex type. And in the complex type, there is a property called data element separation. You have to scroll down and get the exact option that you are looking to. See, I told you all elements delimited. All elements are delimited. So search for the option. It says all elements delimited as the 4th option. And then how they are delimited. If they are delimited, what is the delimiter that is used? You have to mention it here. In this case, it is colon. And that's it. You have created the message definition. Just save the message definition. Now the message definition is saved. Now if you want to test it, how do you test it? First of all, you have to create a message flow and try to pass this message as input, and see whether broker is interpreting all the fields as mentioned in the message definition or not. Okay, first we will not make use of any message definition, and then see what is that we are getting when the broker is trying to parse this message, and then we will try to make use of this message definition and see the change. So let's quickly create a message. Let's quickly create an application. So it's a message definition example. Message definition example MF. Okay, let's make use of MQ nodes here, MQ input, MQ output, and then a transformation says compute. We don't need a compute node here for this purpose, just to make use of like message definition to see whether the message is being passed correctly or not. We don't need a compute node. But okay, let me remove this compute node. We don't need in this case. We're not going to do any transformation. So let's connect the out of MQ input to in of MQ output, and then let's go to the properties, expand the properties tab, and then choose the queue name. It's a mandatory property. Input message parsing. This is where you make use of this message definition that you have created. The message domain is not XML NSA because the message is not XML. Like what is a message domain? As we have discussed when we were creating message set, there was an option like the supported message domain would be MRM. For this, they will make use of MRM. But if you see the change, like if you make use of XML NSC, the message model is the only tab which allows you to give some value, but message and physical format it's gray color. There's no way that you can give the value. But if you go with a message model or message domain as MRM, then you have like all these properties, message model, message and physical format, they need to be supplied with the exact value, what it needs, what the message needs. So for now, we are not going to give any message model or message or physical format. And let's try to send this message as input and see whether the message would be parsed correctly or not. So trying to delete any other flows that are present. And I will deploy the exact message, exact application that contains the message flow. This is application. Launch the debugger. Make use of RFHutil. Let me pin it to the taskbar. Okay, it's open. One quick thing. Okay, the breakpoints needs to be set. Set the breakpoint. Now let me send the message as input for this message flow. So the message is on the desktop. So name of the message is employee Delimited. So write the message. Okay, there you can see the debugger is launched. Edit source lookup path, message flow container. And here you expand this variable section. You can see MRM, it says invalid wire format. It did not set the other mandatory values. When you set the message domain as MRM, you have to set the other mandatory values like message model, the physical format, all these things have to be set, message, these things have to be set. So the broker was not able to parse this message properly. So this message cannot be parsed. This message cannot be understood by the broker. So in case you make use of a transformation node and try to access values of the input message, then there's no way, because when the message is not interpreted in a proper way by the broker, then there's no way that you can grab the input values, input field values, and if there is some transformation needs to be done or some database interaction has to be done, nothing is possible. So it's very mandatory to create a message definition for a message so that broker can parse the message properly. So okay, so now we will make use of message definition. the values that message definition needs, or the input message parsing needs. Sorry, the input message parsing property needs. Message domain, this message domain property is set correctly, MRM. Then you have to browse. When you go for browse, it should show you the message set here, but it's not showing. The reason behind this is that we forgot to reference our message set that we have created to the application where we have the message flow. So what we will do, see, our message set that we have created will always be present in the independent resources. So if you want the message set to be referenced to the application, then you have to do it in this way. Right click the application, go to the properties, choose option project references, and select the message set project that needs to be referenced to this application, then say okay. Okay, no problem, let's neglect that. So now we have the message set reference to the application. Now let's go and set the properties of input message parsing. Message domain is MRM, and browse. Now you see the message set, different message set. The message model is nothing but the name of the message set. Once you select the name of the message set, any message definitions that are part of this message model would be shown as options in the message. So when you scroll down message, see, since you have only one message definition whose complex type, the uppermost complex type, are the high level element. How many high level elements did we create? We created only one high level element, that is e-record, that is showing up. So this is the representation of the message definition. Any high level element, so the uppermost root element or the uppermost complex type would be represented as the message definition. So here there's only one message definition whose complex type is e-record. So you choose this, and physical format is nothing but the custom wire format that we have chosen. It is text one. Scroll down and it will have only one value, text one. Right? So you're done. Now save and then deploy. And now try to run the message flow again. So I'm trying to keep the message again. So now I expand the variable section. See MRM. When you see the MRM, it is parsing the message correctly. E number, E name, and ECT. And you see in the ECT after Detroit, there is /r/n. /r/n is nothing but CRLF. So CRLF is represented as /r/n. If you remember, I entered and saved. Like after this row, I press the enter and then save. So that the message, when it was saved, it saved with the CRLF. So if you want to see it, just go to the view section, show symbol, show all characters. See, CRLF is also saved. So how do you get rid of that? Just go down. Now there is no CRLF, save it, and then try to send the message as input again, and you will not see that /r/n. So that is a very important use of making use of Notepad++, because if you don't have Notepad++, there's no way that you can see that there is a CRLF there. So an editor like Notepad++ is very mandatory in this case. So I'm trying to select the message again, because the message, there were some changes made to the message. Write the message, and then you can see there's no /r/n. And if you see here, you don't find e-record as a complex type in which you have these e number, e name, and ECT as children. Why? Because e-record is being replaced by MRM. So any complex type, any uppermost complex type of a text delimited message definition is going to become MRM, is going to be represented as MRM. So all the elements that are children of the uppermost complex type that you have given in the message definition would become the children of MRM. I'm repeating it again. If you remember, e-record was a complex type which has the children as e-number, e-name, and e-city. And now you, when the message is being parsed, then you don't find e-record. Why? Because e-record, which is uppermost complex type, is being replaced by MRM. So MRM is going to become the uppermost complex type. So you have to remember this thing, keep this in mind, and this is how you try to create a message definition and try to parse a message so that you can work on any kind of transformations or any kind of database interaction, or in that case any mediation or any middleware application creation. So that's it for now. So if you like my video, just do comment, and please like my video, please subscribe, and that's the end. Thank you for watching the video.